Hello, everyone. I had a great reading month in November. I read some really great books that I'm really happy with. I actually finished 14 books, but four of those books I don't have because I either gave them away or I just got the audiobook. So the four books that are not here are The Cost of Living by Deborah Levy, which was a very short autobiography that she wrote after she got divorced. And it was a really beautiful book. I really enjoyed it. It was very poetic. A lot of it has to do with female invisibility and how men make women invisible to feed their own ego, maybe without even knowing that they're doing it. So I really thought it was a great book. I really enjoyed it. I'd love to get a copy if I ever run into it. I also got Don't Think Dear by Alice Robb. This is a book about ballet, and it's about the history of ballet, mostly the New York City Ballet and some of the famous masters that have to do with that studio, including Balanchine, and also the author's personal experience studying ballet. And I am also a ballet dancer, and I've gone back to ballet after many years. So I'm actually very active right now studying ballet. So this book was very, very relevant. I really enjoyed it. It didn't have the best reviews, but I absolutely loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought this book was perfect for me. I also read So You've Been Publicly Shamed by John Ronson. It was okay. It took me a really long time to get rid of it. It took me a really long time to finish it, and I did end up giving it to a friend because she was interested in the subject matter. The book is all about public shaming and all about how people deal either successfully or unsuccessfully after they've been publicly shamed. And then I also read it Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is a very popular book by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and I found it mediocre. I didn't love it. I don't think I would want to reread it. This is one I listened to from the library. It was just okay. The stories were all just okay. I thought they were pretty predictable, and I just didn't get that much out of it. The writing didn't so much bother me as just the blandness of every story. Anyway, so the books that I do have, the following: This Year You Write Your Novel by Walter Mosley. This is a book about writing. It's a very short, very cute little book. I enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't the best book on writing, but it was inspirational and it had a lot of information. And I think I would want to reread this one once I get closer to actually wanting to write my novel and having enough time to do that. I also reread Goodbye Things by Fumio Saki. This is my third or fourth read of this book. This is a very good little book on decluttering mentality that I need to reread every couple of years or once a year or so, just to get into the mood to clean out my house and get clean and ready for the next year. So this is just something I reread to get into the mood. This is book 3 in the Douglas Adams Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is a reread for me. This is Life, the Universe, and Everything. And this book was interesting. I think I liked it. I did like it a lot. I liked it a lot more the second time I read it. Actually, this might be my third time reading it, the first time when I was in high school. And I definitely loved these books the most when I was in high school. I think I'm less focused as an adult. But yeah, these books are really great, and I'm really glad I'm rereading them, and I need to start the fourth one. I read the 5th season, finally finished it this month, and honestly, I did not love this book at all. I think I am going to hold on to it and give it another read through. The biggest problem I had with this book was I got the big spoiler right off the bat. As soon as they introduced all the characters, I figured out what was going on, which was really disappointing to me. Also, there were a lot of I didn't really appreciate how much violence there was, a lot of gratuitous violence and disturbing scenes that I didn't feel that they were necessary. They didn't add to the story. I did not like the child abuse, the child torture, the child murder. I just don't like that stuff. I didn't feel like the book needed it to be so over the top, and then finally I didn't like the writing. The writing was very weird. And I didn't like or connect with any of the characters. So I guess I will try this again. The only interesting thing about this book was the actual world and the universe that they existed in, and the science fiction part was great. It was everything else that I had a hard time with. But I will try again. I think I will try again with this book to see if I like it more the second time around. I also read Shy Creatures, which I got an uncorrected proof from Claire Chambers Publishers. And this book was great. I really, really liked this book. This is the story of a mental health professional who works at a facility in England, and she is an art therapist, and she treats people through art therapy. And she finds she has a new patient who is I guess he's been trapped in a house being cared for by his aunt for his entire life, and I think he's in his late 30s. And it kind of goes into his story and what happened, and this takes place in the 1960s, I think. 1970s, I forget exactly, but this isn't taking place right now. This is in the past, so it's kind of dealing with the post World War II trauma. So a lot of very interesting themes about mental health, especially back then, after World War II. So yeah, I love this book. This book was great. The writing was absolutely beautiful. This is definitely a reread. Maybe I'll run into a nice finished copy of this at a thrift store or something, so I can get one. I finally finished The Professor and the Madman. I've had this book forever, and I just never picked it up, and I ended up loving this book. This book was great. This is the true story of the Oxford English Dictionary, and how this dictionary is mostly composed by a crazy person in an insane asylum who was a murderer. It was fascinating. I thought this book was great. I think this is my second book by Simon Winchester that I've read, and I really love it. I love his writing. He takes very unique, fascinating stories that are not very well known in history, and he creates really interesting books around them. So I really enjoyed that. I finished The Humans by Matt Haig. This is the author of The Midnight Library. I was very bland on this book. I think I need to reread this. I think I'm going to hold on to it. Not just because I bought it new, but I think I was just not in the right mindset to read the story. This was a very, I guess, in-your-face kind of mental health, heal humanity kind of book that I felt was a bit over the top. But I think if I'm in the right mindset, I can enjoy this book more. I read another book by him, How to Stop Time. I also did not care for it, but I cared for this one. I cared a little bit more for this one. So I think I'm going to hold on to it and read it again. I definitely still love The Midnight Library, and I am looking forward to rereading that. I'm still looking for a book that I like by this author as good as The Midnight Library. I reread The Devil Wears Prada by Lauren Weisenberg. I read this book a couple years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, and I have to say I loved it. This book was perfect. I absolutely loved it, except for the ending. The ending was a little weird, but other than that, the book itself was great. I love the story. I love the characters. This is definitely one of my guilty pleasure reads. Super fun book, like really makes you feel good about your job if you're maybe not in the best job. This was a great healing book for me. I'm really glad I read that one. I finished Table for Two by Amor Towles, and this was a very strange book. So the first half of this book are all short stories, and then it starts his novella, Even Hollywood, which is the sequel to, The sequel to Rules of Civility, which he wrote a while ago. I loved the short stories. I thought the short stories were incredible. Every single one was a 5-star for me. I thought they were just perfection. I couldn't put it down. I was raving to my entire family how great this book was until I got to Even Hollywood, which I could not, I hated. I thought that was terrible. So I'm really torn between a perfect 5-star and a very low, maybe 2-star read, all in one book. So I don't know. I'm sure some people like Even Hollywood, but I almost felt that the writing was just so forced and amateurish and strange. And maybe I would like it on a second reading. And I am going to go ahead and read Rules of Civility again because I just rebought a copy. So maybe I will try reading Even Hollywood right after I finish Rules of Civility to see if I like it more. But this was a very strange experience for me. But the short stories are incredible. And we did just start watching Gentlemen in Moscow. And it's great with Ewan McGregor. Absolutely great. We love it. So far, so good. I also read Douglas Adams' The Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul. This is a sequel to his Dirk Gently book, which I read last month. I loved the Dirk Gently book. This is very, very different. This is kind of a weird tale of Thor and Odin, and I'm not even sure what this book is about. It felt like a bunch of nonsense. Dirk Gently was just kind of scrambling the whole time, chasing after these gods who were, I don't even know what they were doing. I guess they were depressed. I don't know. I guess I will have to reread this book. I think I missed something. So this is definitely a reread for me. I think they kind of explain almost everything that happens in this book in the last page, on the last page of the book, and you're like, oh, okay, I see now what everything means. But I guess the reading experience was a bit baffling to me. So this is definitely a reread. Anyway, so I read 14 books, and here are the 10 that I own. So, and I'm going to hold on to all of them. I'm not going to get rid of any of these books. Thank you for watching.